Hey guys, today we'll be looking at the mechanics of mage raiding and defending in the swamp, forest, and highland territories. First, let's look at the layout of the territory and then the reason why you'd want to kill a mage. There are 3 spawn locations in each territory, one on top and bottom, and a double spawn in the center, for a total of 4 mages. Killing a mage will reward your guild with season points, and drop siphoned energy on the ground when it dies. In terms of the fight, the mage has a few abilities. First, it'll do a random AoE attack. It is very important that you do not stack while killing the mage, as it will make it much more difficult for your healer to keep you up. And if you're being harassed by defenders, you could wipe your group by stacking. The next thing the mage will do is go into an ice block and spawn 3 siphoned veteran guardians and a tornado. This stage is pretty simple. You just need to stack the mobs and AoE them down while trying to avoid the tornado. You may want to stack on top of the siphoned veteran guardians as they die, because they provide mana to anybody around them. The amount of times the mage goes into ice block is determined by the amount of people hitting it. 1 to 3 players will trigger 1 ice block, 4 to 7 players will trigger 2, and anything over 7 will trigger 3. That covers the fight. Now let's take a look at the spawn locations. The top spawn is usually the first mage you should take as a small party, because it's closest to the tower, so you're more likely to be harassed as defenders show up. When you first enter the territory as the raiders, you can bypass many of the guards by riding through on your mount and hugging the wall around the mage spawn. You want to ride to the highlighted position, this will leash many of the guards, and put you in a position to kill the mage. Once you start attacking the mage, you want to stay near or on the platform if you are a melee DPS or a tank. Casters and healers should be positioned roughly the distance the guards circle the mage. If you go past this mark and you have aggro, you will leash the mage. Okay, so let's go over defending. Defending the top cap is fairly simple. I'm not going to cover a ZVZ, but I'll give you an idea of what you need to do if you're the first or only person on site. First, you just want to poke them. And if you can, poke them with CC. This means weapons like the Soul Scythe and the Camlin Mace are great for this situation. You just want to slow them down, long enough for your guild to start reacting, and give updates in guild chat so your guild knows that you're stalling them. Just remember, that you're there to slow them down, so just throw your spells and go back to the tower. You don't even necessarily need to see them on your screen. You throwing an extra rotation or being alive when your guild shows up is a lot more important than you landing a spell you're trying to poke them with. Alright, let's go check out some of the other spawns. The bottom cap is very similar to the top. One of the differences is where you want to run to leash the guards, which is pretty much right in the center of the circle. The encounter plays out the same way. Melee's in the platform, range staying within the aggro range. The biggest difference between the top and bottom spawn is that it's harder for defenders to poke the raiders, and it's easier for the raiders to catch the defenders. You can attempt to poke over the walls and be fairly safe. However, if you do this, you'll probably want to mount up after throwing your spells and move to a safer position, probably towards the tower. Trying to poke from the open leaves you out of position and easily caught if they have any type of tank. Like I said before, it's better to survive than to land your spells. So if you can't get into a good position to poke, I would just stay at name tag range while mounted and run at any sign that they're trying to catch you. Alright, let's go take a look at the center spawn. Unlike the other 2 spawns, you don't have to worry about leashing the mage. As long as you don't go down one of the chokes, you can go anywhere on the hill. The problem with the center is that if you go to the edge of the hill, you may aggro guards. Also, you can be hit from pretty much any direction. This makes poke much easier for the defenders, and they probably have started massing a few people by the time you get around to doing the center. Another thing that both defenders and raiders need to be cautious of is the fatal funnel that runs directly down the center of the territory. If a ZVZ does break out and you're a cloth user, you should try to avoid this area completely. Even melee DPS need to be very careful of this area of the map, as this is where tanks will engage and spells will be dropped. Okay, real quick guys, if you find yourself stuck on the tower, and they're surrounding you, and you have no chance of fighting them, you pretty much have two options. The first is to set your home at the tower and stand directly behind it. This will allow you to alternate sides to avoid their melee DPS as they rush in, and will give you the best chance to dodge their spells and abilities. The goal of this is to get out of combat and unequip your most expensive gear and bank it in the chest. Your other option is to stand further back in the circle, while mounted. Let them try to push in, and as they push in, you try to push out. This is a risky move. It really only works if you can dodge their abilities and time it fairly well. But anyways guys, I hope you found this helpful, and as always, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe.